Okay, I'm starting. This is about love. This class is about having a new, continuously self-regenerating love in one's life.
Good idea.
That's what this class is about. And right now, we're talking about a rash that Barb woke up with. So, and okay. Now test, do I have any allergies in any of my bodies?
Yes.
Okay, so test through your bodies and find which bodies you have the rash in.
Almost all of them.
Okay, start removing the rash from all your bodies, the allergy. Now, what is the allergy to? Is it allergy to mead?
I also got really attacked last night.
First just test the question I give you.
I have an allergy to the knees on the sauce, yes.
Okay. Is it an allergy to candida? Everybody test with Barb for her. Everybody test and call out what you get.
Yes.
Allergy.
I got yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're actually allergic to candida. Candida triggers an allergic reaction. And your rash disappeared, but it's still in your bodies you're testing.
You didn't tell me disappeared, so it's not my blood for me.
Okay, so now go through your bodies and remove this allergy to candida and mead and everything and whatever else it's to. And let us know when you've removed all of it from all your bodies.
Yeah.
Do you feel any different?
Yeah. It's funny, I just ate all these things I don't usually eat. I didn't think I was that sensitive.
What's the difference?
It's calmer. Less itching.
Everybody test for Barb. Does she still have any vestiges of this rash, this allergy to candida?
I guess she is.
I actually got you got rid of it, Barb.
It's amazing how many different.
Okay, so
You
Greg
got that
tested.
also, Barb?
Yeah, it's cool. It's going away actually.
I'll tell you what, we'll leave it a while and we'll see what happens. We'll see. If you need to do more, we'll do more. So now, what happened recently was it looked to Franny like her relationship with Greg was over and she saved it. Now, why don't you, let's go to Franny and Greg and you can tell the story of this period of your relationship. Now you've been together. How long have you been together?
We started going out in 1987.
Exactly.
August or so, or something like that.
I'm on convergence. Probably more like May or June.
That was, I don't know if we were going together. We went out. We went out to the movies.
It was kind of an accident because everybody said they were going to the movies, and then it turned out the only food that went after the movies was hot.
I think we were both ready though. And we had known each other for years before that. About 5 years.
Yeah.
And had considered each other, but not really, it wasn't serious. What do you want to say, Bono? Well, I think the thing for me was that was always, I had kind of kept myself in some way, always kept myself separate in some way, in that we were going out, but we weren't really going together. Even when we were living together, well, you know, we're not married, we're, you know, it's...
You had one foot out the door.
Well, I didn't have a foot. At least I had, you know, half my butt cheek was still out behind me there.
Your story that you told yourself was that you had one foot out the door.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to believe about yourself, even though you may have been totally committed, but you didn't want to know that.
Well, in some way, I really knew it. I felt it, and I had that. But at the same time, this is why I'm kind of, you know, the big change in me, the revelation is that I'm really here and present, fully. And at that time, I was divided in some way, even though I may have looked like, hey, we're together, we're doing great. People said, oh, you have a great relationship. But there was always that little thing that was huge, because any little thing you have in you is huge. It's the thing holding you back, you know?
Well, I suppose that I kind of accepted that aspect of our relationship. I was very committed to our relationship, and kind of continually surprised that you weren't, that you always kept coming back, and you asked, like in San Francisco, you finally asked me to live with me, like, I didn't make you do anything. So,
Franny, your voice sounds very distant.
how about now?
It's much better.
Okay, well, I'll try and talk directly into this. So, I got that you were committed, and I definitely was committed, and so I just assumed that that was our relationship. But I know that all along the way you've been reluctant in many ways, and maybe just couldn't find yourself. I don't know what it's been, but you always kept coming back.
It is, you know, people say these words like finding yourself and being committed, and there are different experiences of that, you know, because I was committed, but what is really committed and really finding yourself? And I certainly had dysfunctions that were in the way. One was that there were things about you that I reacted to.
Greg, lower your camera. And Franny, too, lower your camera.
Better.
A little more. For Greg. Okay, good. Very good. Go ahead.
So, you know, and, you know, if there's something about you that I didn't like, sometimes you would react, sometimes you didn't. But the thing, what we're doing now, by the way, is that even if there are things we don't like, we don't react to them. We're clearing them up by talking about things. And you know, I never would have gotten along with anybody, but you were the best person, so that's why I kept with you. Because I would react to anybody, and I could discard anybody because they're not like me, and I don't like that about them. And of course, if I pushed somebody away because of that, oh, there was something I didn't like, and she left, well, it's not the one for me. You know, I wanted somebody who would stay. Of course, whoever it was says, I want somebody who's not going to push me away.
Yes, that's true.
So it's really...
Yeah, good.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey.
So as far as my feelings, well, up till, even though you did what you call transgressions, I always felt like forgiving you. But this last time I got pretty worried because like you just stopped calling, or you were always angry at me. Like every time I talked to you, you just seemed really irritable, and we had these.
Put that closer.
All
funny arguments.
dysfunction, hiding, and etc.
Say that again?
These are all symptoms of dysfunction, hiding, being switched, not communicating, not having my own feelings, and just talking to in an academic way as opposed to
Mental.
medical, antiseptic, sanitary.
Right.
I still don't think I've gotten to the bottom of what makes you so grumpy, and it's one of your defensive behaviors. I think you get very mental and then you get very grumpy, and nobody can really reason with you or talk to you when you're like that. And you're still somewhat rejecting, like even just the way you say goodbye at night. It's like you don't say, well, good night, but I love you. You go, well, I think I'm going to go now. Okay, well, fuck you. I mean, it just doesn't seem very welcoming, or whatever. It seems like you're doing something that you feel bad about.
Yeah, so there are other things that we could keep going, and the relationship's never over.
Yeah, so the question is, what are the behaviors that cause your relationship to feel new? That cause you to feel like you're renewing your relationship?
Well, when I realized how serious, to me it was very serious. I don't know, you fired, you didn't.
I thought it was very serious to me.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
because at times you didn't sound like that. So I looked at my life and I realized that I just have to leave everything. Like if Greg and I broke up, it would pretty much be the end of everything that I know of life right now. And that's probably the way it is for most people, but you know, I don't have my own apartment, I don't have my own things, but I don't necessarily, I'm a unit with a couple. I'm a couple, that's what I consider myself, and everything I share. So when one of the parts of the couple leaves, it's like a lot of things leave, you know.
That's a very interesting thing that you just said, that you consider yourself to be a couple.
That's right, I do.
Well, everybody tests, does that cause the renewal of their relationship?
I guess yes.
Yes.
Barb?
Will it cause a renewal of their relationship?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
To me, yes, it's actually the recognition and the affirmation that yes, we're a couple. It's a step. It's like they have to say, like, we're together, and it's a real thing. You decided, and you have this agreement. In a way, it's like I really know it, and.
But there are problems with that too, because for one thing, you've been living in a different city, basically for like 6 years, because of taking care of your dad. So separation makes a very difficult bridge the gap if you're not talking, or we're not enjoying ourselves when we're together, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And to you, there was something that you were confused about. There was something missing, like romance. I don't know what you want to call it, but there was something that you felt conflicted about.
Well, also, Greg changed when, in the past 6 weeks, Greg, you made a very radical change. Tell us about the change you made.
Well, I decided to really be myself, the self I really knew inside, and not trying to be someone else or do something else, find something outside of me, someone else that that I could put myself into, I could lose myself in that person, so that, a virtual reality we talk about, so that would enhance me. It's like, oh, this is what I really want my life to be, something out there, rather than this is what my life is here. I have it, and I'm creating it from my center with another person, as opposed to trying to find it in or find it with somebody else.
Well, yeah, there were things missing. You wanted love, acceptance, sex, someone who's excited about you or about what you're doing, and easy maintenance, you know. And, that was the thing outside of yourself, and that was possibly something that I was not really attending to, because Bart said, like, didn't have empathy for you. And I realized that I was kind of like put off by all the grumpiness and everything, and I stopped paying attention to you. And I stopped going up to Chicago to visit you. And I did put my attention, it was good because I did put my attention on myself, and I did a lot to our house so that it wasn't falling in on our ears, and, you know, like fix the drainage. And
so the frogs weren't coming through the door?
Yeah, we had a frog pond instead of a pool. And that was pretty serious. I mean, it was really mucky.
Well, you know, from my point of view, for like many years, and especially like when Greg would come to Florida, I would try to coach Greg in his relationship, because Greg, I could see that you were not managing it right, but I never could win with it. But Franny, then there came this point where you went after Greg, like you realized that he was in trouble, and you cared about him. It really came from a real interest in Greg and caring about him. And it became very easy for me to coach both of you.
Well, it was really pretty, I mean, I either had to fight for Greg or give up, because, so what I did was I started asking him to give up every virtual reality that he had, and to focus on me, that our relationship was important, that he built things here, that he was tending to redefine things as being more unimportant than they actually were. Like, he was doing something else, and, you know, he was focused on a new life, and knew this and knew that. But the thing I also realized is that, you know, according to like some of these books like John Gray, men feel their love through sex, and they want to be accepted and validated, etc. And I was not validating Greg and giving him appreciation and you know, acceptance. I mean, I was accepting him, but I wasn't like showing that. And women tend to want love before they have sex. So sex was always kind of like this thing that, like, I wanted, but it just never happened very much. And I don't know if this is because I held back. After a while, I just got tired of asking, you know, tired of doing whatever. And I never understood the whole dynamic of what it takes. It takes basically just sticking with it and, you know, doing the things I want to do regardless, like not listening to Greg, you know, whatever. And so I realized how much I loved you, Greg, and I just wanted to fight for it, and I wanted to be showing you how excited I was. I was thrilled when you were talking to me and we were communicating about everything, and, you know, you said, like, you would give up certain things, you know, like there was one lady that you liked more than others, and you said you would give her up. And I just felt very excited about you, and I determined that this time, and also I did things for myself that made me feel healthier. I started losing weight. I started taking mild, not hormone, but just treatments that would make me feel better.
Well, when you definitively entered, see, that was when you definitively entered the relationship, like you really chose to get into it, Bono, Franny, and when you chose to get into it, then everything happened after that. You had the, it was really you who had to make the choice.
Yeah, well, women always do determine whether the relationship. That's what they say, like they say women determine the relationship. And I wasn't willing to let go of everything that I had with you, Greg, because he asked me, like, what do I love so much? Well, I enumerated all these things. Like, I'm very excited about a lot of things about you and your energy especially. Like, you have very good energy. And I didn't want to lose that. And I didn't want to lose the feeling I had about myself. So then I started feeling very turned on. And I don't know what the activities we did would help both of us feel more sexual and more romantic. And
what were the activities that you did?
Well, just like little things like Greg realized that women, especially me, need like to be hugged and you just need to talk and love more. What?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
Right.
Like, and then I just realized that Greg needed sex, but he just never asked for it. He never. So he would have all these things to tell me about him, and he teased me like, oh, maybe I'll wake you up in the middle of the night. Well, he never did.
Greg was actually, he needed it and was actively pushing it away.
Right.
And underneath, like, Greg, you felt very hurt.
Yeah. See, there were all these things that we actually talked about, didn't react to in each other. We just talked about and brought them to the light of day, and we worked them out. We cured things together. We were just spent hours just lying and talking about things, and one thing would lead to the other. So it was, like we realized we're just in this process of living, and it was fun to clear up past things and find out current things about each other. And really to think, because we had immunics, it made it easy because we could test things. We weren't reacting to each other and saying, oh, I can't stand that in you. And it's just amazing how people talk to each other. If they're...
Well, I think we're both very willing to cure things like being in virtual reality or dysfunctions, and then we also did a lot of sessions with Ross, joint sessions, which Ross was very patient with us, and she's different because she's not like one of our familiar, regular people, so she had more objectivity than like family members or even Byard or anything. Like she could ask us questions and help us do immunics to do that. And so I just started. I can't remember things. I suppose I just started at, just the activities I did also were just things like letting my desire to have sex come to the forefront and just letting nothing stop it until I had it. And then as I had more of it, it just felt more good, like it was great. And it helped, us feel closer. But also just the talking, all the things that we misunderstood or that we had going on about.
We had thoughts about each other, like, what was going on with me in some behavior, what was going on with me and what I was thinking about was not how exactly you're very aware about what other people are going through, but it was not your interpretation. It's like what to me felt like what I was doing was trying to find something, and I was working out things. It was therapy in the way. because I'm leading my life, going after what I wanted, albeit separating myself from you. And, you know, it's not like I was a bad person, but I felt bad.
Well, I think you
Just
say often that you didn't like what you were doing, and it kind of made it like you discounted that I was really there. Like you were just acting like I didn't exist, and you were lying about things, and you felt bad about it.
Yeah.
But it was satisfying something. See, I can completely understand why you were doing it, and even though I hated it and I didn't like it, and it, you know, like. People say, don't take it personally. Well, yeah, it did feel personal. Because it felt like I wasn't the thing that you wanted, you know, or you were going after, or didn't satisfy it, which is something I had to get through, like, that, you know, I'm just as great and important as anybody else.
Yeah, that's important.
That's something I had to see also, that no matter where else I looked, and what else I did, I would be still doing, unless I cleared up things about me, that I would still be doing the same thing in any relationship. But I had something with you that I was kind of just denying.
Well, you honestly were looking to see if you could have the virtual reality. And in fact, you probably treated the other people just like you treated me in many ways.
Yeah.
And of course, you didn't find the virtual reality exactly.
Yeah, we've been all through this, but yes.
Well done.
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
Barb, how's this going how's this for you? Are you getting anything out of this that you want to share with us? I'm curious about you as you hear this.
Who?
Ross?
I was talking to Barb.
Barb.
Me?
Barb?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've always seen a lot of similarities in Greg and I, but I've never really had anybody that stuck with me that way or that I was interested in, you know, pushing through it, so. Makes me sad. I think I don't have a relationship, but yeah, I mean, you know, I know what to do now. I just don't have the person. But I've had a lot of the same behaviors, I guess, as Greg.
So you see yourself more in the Greg role than the Franny role.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Well, one thing that I learned that's really important about love and romance and sexuality and everything is that there's nothing outside of myself that makes that. It's kind of like just you in your, it's not a mind thing exactly, but it is. It's like you just decide to be a certain way. So I would just decide that I would kiss Greg in a certain way, or, you know, one day I rip the covers off and yank his feet down and jump on him. It's like you just have to have a mindset. It's just a choice. There's no reality like thing that's indicating that that's okay or anything. It's just the mindset.
I mean, it's like
Be happy, be sexual, be in love. It's just a choice.
But once two people have decided to stay together, then all that fun is you haven't made that choice, which I don't think I ever had the last 20 years. You know, I never really decided. I was thinking about, you know, Jennifer and her husband too, like if they did what you guys are doing. But I think once you decide that it's not the right person or you refuse, then, you know.
Well, for one thing, Barb, I just want to say this is really important. Jennifer and her husband can't do what Franny and Greg did because they are different people. And they're not capable, neither of them is capable of having a relationship. So you actually have to be capable of having a relationship.
That's true.
Now, as you're talking about yourself, see, I've always seen you as being capable of having a relationship, and I still do. And you, as you say, you're like in the Greg role.
Yep. I just can't.
You know, and I see that. I totally see that. You are not like Jen and her husband.
You know, we gotta find a person that's, you know, whatever, wants to have a relationship too.
Well, it's more than somebody who wants to have a relationship, Barb. You would have to find somebody who's like Franny, which is very difficult. There are very few people who are like Franny.
There are good people. There are really good people. They don't have immunics.
Yeah, but I mean, I did what you did, Greg, and I got pushed people away, and they just got pushed away, you know, they didn't, you know, they let themselves get pushed away, and they didn't know how to stay strong enough to.
Well, that, I mean, I had people, very good people in my life, and I pushed them away, and after, you know, I knew, I could see so obviously that I was doing it, and they just said, I'm fed up, it hurts me to say this, but I just can't be with you anymore. Now you are, and I know I destroyed the relationship. So they were good people. They didn't stick with me and say, you've got to get through this. You know, it's like an intervention. This is an intervention. You are destroying yourself and your life, and I've got to sort of step outside of my role as your girlfriend to do this.
Franny related to Greg like a real partner. Like, he was sick, and she, you know, stayed with him in sickness and in health.
Yeah, well, I got very sick in some of my relationships and that, but they didn't stay with me, but, wow.
You know, like she was just willing to stick with this sick guy. Other women would have just dumped him.
Yeah.
Or not gotten close to me. You know, they'd see me coming and go, well, okay.
His bags would have been out in front of the front door, baby.
I used to pack my own bags just to save trouble. That was a drill.
That's cute.
I had it down where it all fit into my Jeep. I did a few experiments just in case.
Let's talk about triage. I want everybody...
I just want to say one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is that I do care about myself. I mean, I let myself go and then I decided to do things for myself. You know, but I do care about myself a great deal, I realize, and that I ought to put that into action rather than just, you know, being satisfied. And so that's why I just pursued the thing, and I didn't want to stop, because I figured I'm going to pursue this until there's nowhere else I can go.
Great stuff, but now
and Greg was
let's
fun,
talk.
so that's half the battle. It is. I mean, you can't pursue somebody who absolutely doesn't want you and doesn't have a lifestyle or anything. That's kind of stupid and crazy, but I found that Greg, he was just teetering on some little precipice that he didn't know, you know, what he was doing.
Well, I did know what I was doing, you know. But, I mean, I just kept pushing it.
Kept what?
Pushing the edge.
Pushing the edge. When, you know, how am I going to let this go? And how do I really rate all this? Because, as I was saying in some session with Ross and some tweets that I made, it's like I was going into what is really wrong, what's my dark side, what is this thing in here that I have to find that was always there when I was in a relationship. There was something there that was not right. And if I related to it, if I went into it, then I would hurt the relationship. But I felt I had to go into it. The thing was I had to cure it. and not just go into it.
Yeah, you had to cure it.
I got to switch.
You had to cure it, yeah. That's right.
And it had to be out here with everybody else. It had to be in public, on camera, or on...
Yeah, everybody had to see you cure it.
No,
not everybody in the world, but everybody. I had to make sure that it was really real and there was no not doing it. So I couldn't just hold some little thing inside me, this little ache, and say, oh, that's okay, I'm going to harbor that.
Right.
That's really me in there. My hurt child. I have to
my inner child.
My hurt child.
Right.
And I need time and space for myself to, good, google, what people do to themselves in this new age crap.
Okay, so now that being said, I want everybody to go to Twitter, and right just a minute ago, I just tweeted the Wikipedia definition page for triage. So I want you to look.
Triage.
I want you to look at that page, okay?
Okay, for triage.
Now the first thing you see on the page is the toe tag.
Yeah.
And the toe tag has a series of tear-offs. There's a green, and it goes up the ladder like that. Finally, the final one is morgue. It's the black one. And
Can you make this large, I guess?
triage is what happens in an emergency where you're helping a lot of people and you have limited resources. And that is the condition of the cure drive. We are in a condition where we are surrounded by people who need help, and we have limited resources, so we have to decide among people. In triage, you take the person who's the most likely to live. That's the one you treat. Now, just to contrast Greg with the woman, Chris, who last night, Chris was in the
Cure meeting.
Christiana was in the cure meeting, and she decided to pull back. She didn't want to turn her camera on. And what happened was that she went into a category, she changed her category in the triage system to a person who gets a lot less help. Probably when she most needs help.
Well, this is kind of from the viewpoint of the victim triage, rather than the people giving the medical attention.
Yeah, they use it in hospital, in the emergency room.
Franny, what did you just say?
Well, I was saying that the way that you're explaining it, it sounds more like the victim decided what level of attention they're going to accept.
Yeah, in our situation, they actually decide how much they'll accept. But it's based on how much they give. Obviously, if they give more, then there's more to go around for everybody.
Right.
So somebody who contributes a lot, they're going to get a lot of help because they've put something into the system where there's more abundance of help, and so that comes back to them.
So she delayed her attention from immediate.
Who knows? I mean,
She self-diagnosed herself to being, what does it say on the tag there? To minor walking wounded, delayed, yeah. You know, like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to just wait over here on the sidelines. While I'm bleeding to death and I feel miserable, I'm just going to sit over here and I can walk around. I'm wounded, but I have a gunshot to the groin, but it's okay. It's okay. It's mine.
So she determined what level of triage she needed, and she announced it accordingly.
There is a lot of truth to what you're saying. She obviously has certain beliefs about what she does and doesn't need or want. And also, I didn't notice this till later, but she doesn't really see herself as making much of a contribution even when she does have the camera on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, obviously people are very complicated. Chris is very complicated. But what's happening to her, the response that she's getting is very simple, which is nothing. You know? Now the difference between her and Greg, there's, if you notice, like there's a parallel between Chris and Greg, because Greg was in a lot of trouble and all of a sudden Franny chose to help Greg.
Well, I triaged him as immediate, otherwise he was going to be in the morgue.
and Greg accepted the help.
Yeah.
I was like the little dog that comes whimpering by the door, and sometimes you say go away, and sometimes you call the ASPCA. Rather than, Franny said, oh, this one needs help. This is a cute one. I'm going to keep this one.
Barb, you got to turn your camera back on.
I think my battery wore out on my computer, now I'm on my phone. I can't figure out how to get the phone on.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can't plug in your computer?
I think, you and I talked about the phone and the camera the other day, but there's no camera icon, so I'm not sure. Maybe I answered it wrong or something. There's no camera icon on my phone.
Oh, you're on your phone now.
On my phone.
You can't use video on the phone.
Well, if you have a camera icon, you could turn your, just punch that camera icon.
I don't see the icon, although I've done it before we just finished the group call.
I don't think on a group call we can have people on the
Oh,
phone.
right. That's right. The phones don't work for this.
For group call.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Oh, it's so bad. Okay.
I can't have my beautiful Barb on camera anymore today.
I'm sad about this relationship stuff and all that. Sad. But there is potential.
Well, that's, you know, there's nothing is fixed. Nothing is not mutable. You know, you can cure, really, I mean, you can cure anything. And
You see, actually, you might have a relationship right now if you had picked someone of Franny's caliber.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but, you know, I do.
For example, I'm going back and doing a retake on when Jamie came to live with us when you were our live-in assistant in Florida, in the Keys.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got all the negative press for behaving strangely and so on, and pushing her away. But the fact is that what Jamie did was she got pushed away.
She was a whiner.
She was a whiner. She immediately started judging you negatively and saying, she was talking to me and Chrissy and saying all these negative things about you.
That's one thing you can't do, is talk about your partner negatively to anyone because not only does it create like bad something, but also other people turn against that person. And you can never fix it. Never can fix that.
I know, she still tells that story, and I think she was also between you and me and Sissy, and that's why I started losing respect for her, so I didn't worry even more. But yeah, that's still a story she tells. She'll get things to get me about it.
You know, I always felt as though being with Franny was like being with a brand new woman. And the reason for that is because Franny is always generating something new. You know, a new interest, a new thing to do, or just coming at me with new discoveries.
That's always fun.
This is how people's relationships are self-renewing.
Also, I have to have faith that I love someone like, I love Greg, and I know he loves me, and I saw that he loved, like, Elizabeth. I could see it in pictures. She didn't experience it all the time, but I could see it. I remember there was one at the intensive where he was playing a ball game or something, and his arms her like protectively around, like he stayed behind her, and he just loved her, And I have to be able to see that. You have to see that coming from someone else.
You have to recognize something, not just what you...
They might be acting a different way, but do they really love you? Can they be loved? Are they viable? Are they in negative beingness? Because negative beingness, people cannot bond with you. There's just no way that they can't. But Greg is a bondable person, and I am too. And I just love him so much, no matter what. And that, he said he always appreciated my just loving him, no matter what he did, coming towards him. And this time was very different for Greg because he really came towards me, and you made an effort to do something different than you usually do. What?
I keep seeing, not just, really seeing you beyond anything. Beyond how you talk, what you say, how you act. I won't put up with certain things you do to yourself.
Yeah.
Which is me loving you, saying no. It's just just stop doing that.
Well, I know, like, love is, means a lot of things. It's like exercise, like. If I exercise, especially with you, Greg, like manifesting a free yoga class here in Old Riverview, that meant a lot because I wanted to share something with you, not just talk, but share things that we were both interested in. And I know that that's something you're interested in. And, I just see that we both made a huge effort to do things differently. Like, you made an effort to not push me away. I could see it. Like, you made an effort to come towards me whenever you thought to do that.
Yeah. This light is so bright in my eyes.
We also got out about a bazillion books in the library and read about everybody was saying about this, like, to kind of understand. There's lots of things to understand about the dynamics of a relationship, and knowledge is always really helpful. It's like kind of like Ross and I were going over Bayard's little outline about manifesting, and it's like what your interests and your activities show your interests, or your interests show your activities, and your intention is from your interest, and you manifest from your intention. And I just see that when we study or we do things like go to yoga, our interests are more in line with what we want to manifest than if we're refusing to do any of those things, or look at it, or hold on to our bad feelings, not get rid of those and look to another horizon, like Greg looked to a different horizon, like he was willing to give up his kind of like ideas about the way things should be and look at a different horizon and learn something. And so, love is really important, but it also takes
participation
and active, picking activities that are in alignment with what you want to do, and then, just not concentrating on things that you can't do anything about. Like, most of the bad thoughts that we would have about something is really, like, I was thinking that if Greg really found someone that he wanted to be with more than me, there wasn't a lot that I could do about it if that was his really, like, if he really, really wanted that. It might be a mistake or whatever, but there wasn't really anything I could do about that except just the things I was doing. That's all. And figure out how to change that. And so, I face that too, but then I just picked the activities and the things that I knew how to do that might change the situation, and I did those. And I was scared during some of it. I was scared just thinking about losing my relationship, but it was scary to talk to him every day and bring up topics that I didn't really want to bring up, but I thought that they needed to be talked about, and kind of just to find out what the other person was going through, or what his real thing was, because maybe the thing he was doing wasn't really what he wanted to do, or he felt bad about it, and so that needs to be talked about. I can't really decide that in a vacuum. I've got to actually ask the questions and talk about it. And Greg said he was willing to talk to me about anything. He felt really good about that, and that helped a lot, because then you have somewhere to go. Like, you can kind of talk about what's real and what's firm and what's not firm, and what needs to be changed, or what, it was almost like we could talk about what we didn't like about each other in a more objective way. It wasn't like I was blaming him or telling him, anything. It was more like a conversation, and that's something Greg said in one of the things, is that it was just great to have a normal conversation about it. Because I remember my dad said, he said, well, don't get mad, just don't get mad. Just see how you can, what the situation is, and look at it and discuss it, because when you get into some kind of dysfunctional state, there's not much you can do. Like, you're just stuck in this loop going round and round, with all the bad feelings.
Well, one thing about you, Bono, that I will say, Franny, is that I could talk, and I know anybody can talk to you about anything.
Yeah, I did have trouble with my dad telling me I should lose weight. I used to get really upset about that. And I know he cared. At the same time, I knew he really cared about me. But he would get really pushy about, about how to do it. He's this skinny guy who can't gain weight, so he has no idea what it's like to be overweight and trying to lose weight, He just says, well, reduce the calories, For her, it's all so simple, Well, it wasn't.
Huh.
So I did see that he cared about me, and I just said, well, okay, you can mention this, but I can't talk about it a lot because I get too upset. But then, yeah, just, told him I really cared about him, telling me things, and he and his girlfriend got me books about things, and I mean, they were really supporting me. He paid for acupuncture treatments, which really helped. I believe those really did help eventually with everything about how I feel about myself, and I got rid of some conditions and things like that from menopause. So he really cared enough to make an effort to support me. And Greg does too, he's willing to pay for a lot of things for me to help myself. He says it's important.
Well, I want to ask Barb again, how are you taking this, and what are you doing with it?
No, it makes me feel sad actually. I guess I'm maybe hurting myself with it. It's I wish I had a relationship to work on, but I don't quite see that right now. I feel like, if it's too, I've always kind of looked for either protection from someone, and I wasn't really in love with them like Celeste, or I looked for something that was just really fun and exciting, but then it wasn't viable or wouldn't last. And so I think of something that I have someone who's a real, regular, stable, person.
Let me give you one tip, Barb. Let me give you one tip. Someone said this to me once. Ben Wilson from Sarasota, my father's artistic friend, is now dead. He said, if you're going to say something, say it so we hear it and we understand it. Otherwise, he said, you don't feel like what you're saying is important. So I would like to be able to hear what you're saying without straining myself.
Yeah.
I hear mumbling. And
well, I was on my headset. I
didn't
know I was on my headset. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I think you kind of
feel
when
I had a headset.
Start talking into your shirt. I can't really understand.
No, I had a headset on that doesn't work very well, but I'll take it out. I don't think much. I don't really feel, very there's no relationship in the works or anything. I'm just kind of getting by, so.
Have you ever gone with anyone who was substantial in the way we're talking about?
Have I ever? No,
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, maybe Jamie and certain.
No, Jamie was not. Jamie was never any.
What about Caitlin?
Maybe so. Yeah, Caitlin. Caitlin just got married yesterday, though. Caitlin was pretty good, but she was, she had a lot of emotional problems. I thought her was better, and then she.
Do you feel like Caitlin was substantial the way we're talking about?
I mean, she, not substantially. I was looking for. That's why I let it go. I was in Virginia. But she, is making it for herself now. But she needed somebody less powerful than herself, so that's what she has now. Maybe I was that too, but she,
So she needed somebody. She needed somebody to be more powerful than. Were you ever with somebody who could be the power source in your relationship?
Was I with someone that could be the power source?
Where they were the power source. They could be the...
And forget the money aspect and all that crap, just emotionally.
Celeste did pretty well considering what she was up against.
Celeste?
Well,
Celeste was totally out of her depth. She couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. She was out of her.
She was she went with you because she was desperate, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I still thought, I never really went with Nikki, but I thought she would be good at it because she likes to work on and stuff. But we never
Nikki was not a powerful person.
Yeah, that kind of covers everybody. Probably I wasn't really that interested in him.
Well, then also, I looked at people that I was choosing, and why I was choosing, and I would be choosing people who were not right for me.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, that's all history now. So that's all over.
Yeah. You know what I'm getting out of this, basically, when you're talking, Barb, is that it's difficult for you to tell when somebody is able to be this power source. You can't actually spot that kind of person.
Right, and my observations of you is more that you want things from people rather than you really love somebody. I hate to say it, but you just...
Well, if Barb has chosen the wrong person, then...
She wants something and she isn't willing to give...
Oh, you mean, oh, I see. So you're saying that...
I don't think that's true anymore. I think I actually loved Genesis. Actually, I loved her a lot. I was well prepared to love her. I didn't love the other people well because I did need something. I mean, I need something. So it's true. But I don't really need that much anymore. But I want to love somebody now. And I really wanted to love anybody before. I wanted someone to love me or give me something or, be there for me. But now I don't want to love something.
That's good. I mean, because I didn't want... I want love from Greg, but I didn't want him to... Like, I felt like I could give myself the things I need. Like, even when I was really scared he was going to leave this time, I was thinking, well, what do I need to do for myself? Like, how can I get through this without, like, being in the street or something like that? But I never
that's what it means.
loved Greg because of that. I loved Greg because I was Greg. I saw something in him and I wanted to feel great about himself, and I felt great with him,
Yeah, I mean, if there's any of that not wanting to be out in the street, then that would muddy it up. So now...
Well, it didn't muddy it up for Franny somehow.
She 20 years maybe that I don't need anyone, but I could, that's...
It didn't muddy it up for Franny.
No, well, because she genuinely really likes Greg, I guess.
Yeah,
True.
See that I'm thinking, since you're in the Greg role, it's hard to, like see, but it seems like Greg chose Franny so long ago, and he's stuck with her this entire time, because the bottom line is that he does want somebody substantial, not a virtual reality, but somebody who really is, like grounded in the earth, and like who's like a real he wants a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you do too.
Yeah, but the only real, some of the real persons I knew were,
The thing is that there's something else that's going on with you, Barb. When you like are around somebody who's posing, like Jennifer or Jamie, or that, like these people pose as substantial people, and I think that you like that. You get sucked in, and I noticed Greg does too. He was telling me about this woman he was with, and I was saying, my God, this woman is posing as, this, and she's just like, she's got all the props, she's got money and a house and everything, and she can create this role for herself,
That never really mattered to me.
And underneath it, there's this frightened child, but she's not going to show that. Like, she's going to, like...
Well, she did love and accept Greg and gave him things that he was looking for, but it may not have been to the extent that he wanted everything to be, but he paid...
Well, it isn't that. He was already with you.
Yes.
So it really doesn't matter how good or bad she was. He was with another woman. He had a relationship, and she was like trying to go with this guy who had a relationship already, which is desperate.
Right.
So, I think, Barb, that that you have, like, I think you're a viable person who has good taste and good instincts, and you also have a real attachment to virtual realities. And you help people maintain their virtual realities. And that is ruining your ability to do what you could otherwise easily do. Because I think it would really be easy for you. And I always say,
yeah, they're gonna need somebody at this point, like I know Georgina, but she's like her own world of issues.
yeah, but she's another one that she's a poser.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's creating a virtual reality around herself. You know, and inside of it, she's fucking terrified. She's hiding in there somewhere, you know, with her smoke screen.
Yeah, there are real people in there, but what they're creating and they're putting up as their life is this virtual reality. And so much of the world responds to that. What do you think we have on TV all the time with real?
Yeah, but
You're right. With
fun, you know, it's kind of nice to have a little fun for someone who's like that.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like cigarettes are fun too. You know, I get a kick out of a cigarette, you know, but God,
you do?
Do you really?
Yeah, I was
don't, but you know.
Stacy, I was Stacy, and she was like, you know, it was all like normal and stable kind of, and I was the one that kind of wrecked that one up. Too. You know, she wasn't maybe quite right either, but we got along and we did.
Well, you know, maybe she just wasn't quite up to the level. She may have been great, you know, but just not quite. Or maybe she was like when I saw Stacy, she seemed like this, like very kind of like scared, off-putting kind of person. I never got a good impression of her, so I'm not probably the best one to talk about about her with.
She was. I mean, just that stuff that she just seemed to like. She liked me. I mean, I feel like a lot of my prerequisites. They don't really want to have to like enroll somebody.
One thing I will say that Stacy was not an intuitive person.
No.
For sure, she was not an intuitive person.
No.
And she probably had a very low level of empathy also.
Uh-huh.
Now, we only have a few minutes to go in this class, and there were a couple of things that I wanted to cover. One thing is, you say that Michael signed up?
Michael Case.
Well, I'm going to write to him and offer to do some lessons with him then. I like Michael. And also, Barb, he's your person, so Greg, you should send Barb her share of the donation. He's her person. And I'm very proud of you for creating your relationship with Michael. He's a great guy. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with him in the future.
Okay.
And also, I wanted to ask about Anna. I invited Anna. I don't know if you saw the thing I wrote on Facebook. I invited her to be our guest on Friday.
Okay.
And one thing is I should probably talk to her on the phone. So why don't you give her my cell phone number when you see her and tell her to call me, okay?
Okay.
All right. And this should be it, I guess, for our meeting. Anybody have... And what are your closing remarks before we go? Are there any?
That's beautiful.
What's that? What did you say, Rob?
A lesson about love, talking about love, true love is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's always good for the heart. And we all learn something from this.
Well, you have had true love in your life, Ross.
Yes.
That's right.
I still have it.
That's right. You still have it.
Yes.
That's right.
You know something? That's something you and I have in common.
Yes?
You and I have that in common because I have my, you know, like my 3 dogs, or 4 of them actually, and they're all in my heart. And my kitty, you know?
Yes.
And I'll never lose them. I keep linking my, I keep linking my results bodies with theirs.
What about parents?
Yeah, I have true love in my heart with my
Do you love your parents?
with my mother
Yeah, sure.
and father. So
I think it's important, regardless of what your parents did to you, that you love them.
well, I do have that, and they didn't do anything bad to me at all. I had really good ones, and so did you, I think, Craig.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe other people might be listening, because
right.
my parents were the worst, you know. How can anyone love them?
Well, I mean, if they pour gasoline on you and set you on fire,
Okay, you're right.
I think you're excused from loving them at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, parents do horrible things to kids. It's just something.
Well, I still have my dad, and Greg does too, and boy, my dad shows me how much he loves me all the time. It's just pretty amazing. And my sisters and brothers feel it too, and they spend a lot of time, as much time as possible with him, because they see that he loves them and they love him too. You know, we're pretty lucky. And Greg is lucky too. His father really cared about him too.
Yeah.
Well, we have, you know, the reason I was saying, Ross, that you and I have this in common is because basically every day you and I continuously keep linking our results bodies with our true loves, whoever they may be. So in that sense, it's pretty much...
Love never dies.
It never dies. You and I, you know, your life may have been very different from mine, but we have a very similar experience of true love.
Yes.
And that's what makes, to me, the thing that makes love continuously self-renew is this continuous linking of the results bodies with whether the person is alive or not. You know, I link with Barb and Franny and you and Greg and everybody else like all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always doing it because I need to do that to feel good all day.
Yes.
Well then, let's all link our results bodies right now.
Okay, good idea.
Yeah.
Barb, keep checking for that allergy, okay? Whoops, we lost the call just as I said that. This is the Cure Drive Cult homepage. You can see we tally our cures. That's the tally there, 132,000. You report your cures here, right here. That's the link to report your cure. Okay, this is the movie that people start with generally. And there's a lot of people actually curing things on camera in this movie and demonstrating exactly how to do it. It's 4.5 hours. So you would be able to probably understand and know what these people are doing by watching this. We are a cult because we're all over the world. Maybe one person in a town, just one little guy who cures things in a whole town full of people who don't, whose spouse thinks she's crazy because she's curing things and he doesn't. She doesn't get sick and he's down with the flu for 5 days and he still thinks she's crazy. We've had spouses die So this person is demonstrating curing herpes in this movie, the one you're watching right there. And it goes on like that. Now, these are the people here. You see this black area here? This is our Twitter feed. These are the people you want to talk to. And what you do, see, it says follow Cure Drive. And that's what you do. You click on that, and then you pick somebody. Anybody in here will be happy to help you. So you write to people that you see in here. And there's all these people all talking about what they're curing. So that's what you do. You pick somebody that, that seems like a kindred spirit, presumably, and you write to them. See that picture of the cat there? That's Rosella. She's one of the people whose spouse died. He was a very great guy. He just thought it was nuts. Never did it. Died of cancer. Not too long ago, about 2 months ago. So anyway, you just, you write to somebody and, tell them what you, are trying to do. People are always asking about negative medical tests. Here, let me show you. This is a voicemail message. You should probably, if you're interested in getting a negative medical test on, let's say, herpes. She got negative medical tests and both kinds of herpes. And she left me this message when she got her letter from the, hospital, I guess. She was in New Zealand. So her tests are free. Now, of course, there's an enormous website behind this homepage. I guess you're probably guessing, right? And if you see these movies, these are all people demonstrating curing various diseases. This is these people chose to contribute their cures to your effort to cure yourself. There are around, I guess, over 800 movies. And some of them are linked to this page. So if you click on any one of these pictures, it will go to a movie and that movie will start playing. So join the cult. Your friends will be worried about you. You're in a cult, they'll be worried. You have the crazy idea that you can cure medically incurable diseases. They're going to be very concerned, especially if you're battling cancer. Your friends will be worried, and that's a good thing. You will cure things, and that is also a very good thing. You will begin curing things the moment you join, because that's how you join. You cure something. When you cure something, you're in the cult. If you want to get out of the cult, just stop curing things, and you won't be in the cult anymore. Easy to exit. Your easy exit strategy. And who knows? You may even cure the medically incurable disease that you came in here to cure. A lot of us did. That's me there in the movie holding forth on how to cure things. I'm on the cure team. That's what I did. I cured a medically incurable disease. Two of them, actually. So I cured 2 kinds of herpes. It was about 4 months after I started doing this that I actually discovered, I'm the person who discovered that you could cure physical diseases. July 1993, my 20th anniversary just passed. I haven't had an outbreak of herpes for 20 years, and before that I was having outbreaks for 28 years. I got herpes in 1965, at the end of the year. 28 years of outbreaks followed by 20 years of no outbreaks. That's how bad it can be and how good it can be, if you let it be good. So, take the courageous step that almost everyone you know will advise you not to take. Join the cult. When you're in the cult, your friends will get sick and you will get well. Your friends will give sympathy and you will give cure. And you'll know that you don't even need to take a vitamin pill to cure something. You can just cure it with nothing. Just with you. What can you contribute? What will your contribution be? This woman is curing a flu right on camera. She came in with full symptoms and they were all gone in 15 minutes. You can see it happen. Flu is an incurable viral-based disease. It's medically incurable. She cures it right in front of you. We eagerly await your contribution. And here they are, eagerly awaiting your contribution. And anything that you say to any of these people will probably be a contribution of some kind.